Well, students, we're gonna finish up these Monster Pot drawings today. I'm gonna try to keep this pretty simple for you so you got a lot of time to finish these up. So first thing, if you need to trace anything else out with marker, you can. Adding a few thick lines is a good idea. I've already done that in some places, but a thick line is just putting a line next to something and then filling it in. Now, you can see that if I do a thick line, that it's a smooth line. I'm not taking it, and let's just do one right here. So I'd take this and make a line next to it, and then I wouldn't be like scratching it in there. I'm gonna make sure to just do a smooth line. Now, after you have all the marker trace, if you do any thick line, go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna do shading on the rest of it. For this part, I'm gonna try to do this pretty quickly. I'm gonna try not to color on the teeth. So I'm gonna shade those spaces around it. One of the reasons that my hand is doing this side first is so that I don't drag my hand through it, because then it will make this smear. But usually to make this shading look a little more 3D, I'm gonna do the inside of the mouth. The thicker lines help too by making the pencil not end up covering up or like getting outside the lines. So that's one reason that I often will do a thicker line. When I'm shading, especially large shapes like this, I'm trying to go all the same way. I'm trying to kind of go all on this diagonal line. If you go different directions, like if I were to go up and down, side to side, back and forth, I'm gonna end up with it not being as even. So the only times that I would change direction would be maybe to outline and go around something so I can stay inside the lines. So here I might trace around that. So once we have the inside of the mouth done, like the opening of the Monster Pot, then I would like you to do some shading on your other lines. There's lots of ways to do shading, and I'm just gonna try to keep it simple so that it makes good sense. So what I would do is I would just find a line and I would go dark, and then I would gradually get lighter and lighter and lighter. Find a line, dark, lighter and lighter and lighter. Then I would do that same thing here. So the inside kind of stays white, but I would just kind of find a line and then get lighter and lighter and lighter. Kind of do the same thing here. Find a line and then get lighter and lighter and lighter. Just kind of creating shadow. And then do that in each of my lines. Sometimes just like a little bit of shading is all it needs. So we're not coloring the whole shape in. I wouldn't want to end up coloring in that whole tooth, because then it would just look like the space around it. So just find a line, go dark, and then get lighter and lighter and lighter. Once I do that, I'm gonna kind of do that on this too. So this line I might leave white, and then this one, I'm gonna go dark on this side and then get lighter and lighter and lighter. I'm gonna do the same thing on this. Keep that side white and then make this one darker, and then they get lighter and lighter and lighter so I don't end up coloring in the whole thing. Do the same thing here, and then here, and do that here too. Same thing here, just do one side of the line and get lighter and lighter and lighter. You could do both sides if you get a little bit of space. I just didn't want to do that on this one because this gets so narrow that I just wanted to do the shading on this side but leave the other side. Do that here, do that here, and here, and here. Now, once you have the shading done on each of your lines, we're gonna talk a little bit about the shadow. I'm going a little bit faster than I would like. I would definitely want to shade this better. And in order to make these eyes look a little more 3D, it's a little tricky, but shade on a curved line like this. So instead of doing a straight line, I'm doing a curve. And I would probably turn my paper so I don't put my hand through this, but Try to keep my hand on the outside to keep it from smearing. And then do a little bit of that inside and here too. Now the shadow on the bottom, if I start here and I just kind of bring it as a curved line, I'm kind of thinking about it like this, like it's just a curve like the top. And then this, I can kind of make this a curved line. It's kind of like an oval shape. And actually, it doesn't look very good like that. So let me just erase that. And if you end up needing help with your shadow shape, I can help you, but I'm gonna go like this, just kind of thinking about it going like right off the page. It's kind of like just like an oval shape right here. And then I'm gonna take this and we'll shade this in. Maybe you get a little bit on the table, it's not a big deal. And then make it a little bit darker, kind of by the tongue where that shadow might be darker. And then we'll go here too. So this shadow, I think, really helps make it look more real and makes it look like it's kind of sitting on a table. You can see also that I already did this line. This is kind of like a line where the table might be. So I'm gonna shade that from really dark right here, and then I'm gonna gradually get that lighter and lighter and lighter. I'm gonna try to leave the top white. Now, something that you can do if you're careful is to do a little bit of blending in some of these bigger spaces with your finger. Now, I've had some times this happens where students get pencil on all their fingers. If you do this, you might get pencil on one finger, so that if you are touching your paper, don't touch it with this finger because it'll put fingerprints on your paper. But if you want to do this, just make sure you're kind of like right on the line of where you're shading, because if you end up getting like way outside the line, then you're gonna need to do a bunch of erasing. But sometimes this can just help those transitions be a little bit smoother. You do not have to do this. If you choose to do it, just do it carefully so you're staying inside the shape. And then any of these spots where I ended up getting outside the line, like here, I would take this and then I would just erase that and clean that up. And then just be careful when you brush it off that you don't smear it even more. Okay, so I think this shading can really help make things look three-dimensional, and I think it's a fun way to just make something that is pretty simple look really cool. If you end up getting any fingerprints down here, just erase those as well, and just be careful where you touch it. So let's have fun working on these.